Some people wake up tired no matter how long they sleep. Their joints ache, their mind feels cloudy. They sip their tea or coffee, but something's missing. It's not just rest they're lacking, it's energy that flows clean, steady, and alive. There's a reason Shaolin monks treat the morning like sacred ground. Not just for meditation or training, but for what enters the body. The first thing you consume isn't just food, it's information. It tells your system how to function, how to feel, how to age. Eggs, meat, toast, these are common. But in ancient times, there was another food that warriors, monks, and healers quietly relied on. Not for bulk, but for strength. Not for taste, but for clarity. The almond, not roasted, not coated in salt, just soaked, softened, awakened. In this video, I will show you why this small nut has been used in traditional medicine across Asia and the Middle East for centuries. Why it supports the brain, calms the nerves, strengthens the joints, and why, especially for elders, it can replace heavier sources of protein and still give more. You'll learn how to prepare it, when to take it, and why it works better than many modern breakfast foods. But more than that, I will share the deeper practice behind it. The way a Shaolin monk eats, not just what he eats. Because true health is not only in the body, it's in the energy behind each choice. Stay with me until the end, and you'll leave not just with a health tip, but with a shift in how you see food, aging, and energy itself. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If you're walking the path of mastery, subscribe now and take each step with presence. Not all fullness is nourishment. You can fill the stomach and still starve the spirit. In the Shaolin temple, we are taught to look beyond numbers, beyond grams, macros, and labels. We see food as energy, not just fuel for the muscles, but for the mind, the breath, the intention behind our actions. When I was a novice, I once asked my master why we ate such simple food. He said, because a quiet mind doesn't need distraction, and heavy food creates heavy thoughts. It stayed with me. We live in a time where people obsess over calories, yet feel tired after eating. They follow meal plans, yet struggle with clarity. Why? Because the food may be full, but the energy is empty, disconnected, processed, rushed. There's no life left in it. In ancient practice, we choose food by how it makes us feel after, not during. Does it sharpen the senses, calm the nerves, support stillness? These are the real measures. A monk eats to prepare for meditation, for training, for service. Every bite must support that purpose. Nothing excessive, nothing that pulls the energy down or scatters the breath. This is why we eat slowly, chew thoroughly, sit quietly with our bowl. It's not ritual for ritual's sake, it's awareness. When you eat like this, you begin to feel which foods elevate you and which ones drain you. Some foods are alive. They carry the sun, the earth, the water in them. They align with the body's rhythm. Almonds soaked overnight are one such food. Soft on the stomach, rich in spirit. A small thing, but the path of mastery is built from small things done with full attention. Food becomes medicine when taken with presence. It becomes poison when taken with ignorance. The choice is yours. Every morning, every meal, the beginning of the day is not just another moment, it is the gate. What passes through that gate shapes the hours that follow. In the temple, mornings begin in silence. Before movement, before speech, there is stillness. Because the first impression left on the body, the mind and the breath echoes. It ripples outward, like a stone dropped in water, small but deep. The same applies to what we eat. When you wake up, your body is in transition, cleansing, resetting. It's not ready to be overwhelmed. It's listening, sensitive. The first thing you put inside, whether it's food, thought, or intention, becomes a signal. It tells your system what kind of day this will be. Will it be steady or rushed? Will your mind stay clear or fog up by midday? This is why monks never eat mindlessly in the morning. We choose food that supports awareness, something that is light yet grounding, nourishing but not dulling. It doesn't have to be much, but it must be right. Discipline starts with what you allow in. If the first action is reactive, scrolling a screen, grabbing sugar, rushing out the door, the whole day leans that way. But if the first act is deliberate, clean, and intentional, the body aligns with it. The mind follows. A soaked almond, a sip of warm water, a breath taken slowly. These aren't small things. They are signals. They tell life, I'm not moving in chaos. I'm moving in mastery. Energy is a currency, and the morning is when you decide how to spend it. Those who guard their first hour guard their destiny, not through force, but through quiet repetition, through honoring the beginning, every day like a new vow. In many old traditions, almonds were not just food, they were considered sacred. Healers, monks, and herbalists used them not only for the body but for the mind, because this small, quiet nut holds something rare, the ability to strengthen without straining, to energize without agitating, to nourish and yet remain light. In the ancient texts, almonds were given to students before study, to warriors before meditation, and to elders whose energy had become more fragile with time. Not because of superstition, but because of observation. Almonds sharpen memory, calm the nerves, soothe the digestive fire. They were known as a sattvic food, a food that brings clarity, peace, and balance to the system. Modern science now confirms what was already felt by experience. Plant protein that repairs, healthy fats that support the brain, magnesium, calcium, and vitamin E, minerals that protect, heal, and steady. But what matters most is how they act in the body. For seniors, every meal is a decision. Will this fuel me or fatigue me? Will this bring ease or inflammation? As we age, digestion slows and the body becomes more selective. Heavy foods that were once tolerable become burdensome. That's why simple natural foods like soaked almonds become essential. They deliver much while asking little in return. It is said that true strength is gentle. Almonds are like that, quiet but deeply effective. They support movement, memory, and mood, and they do so without fanfare. To eat them with intention is to honor the body's wisdom, to say, I am not fighting time, I am walking with it. In a world full of loud solutions, the almond remains still and still powerful. Complexity is often mistaken for intelligence, but in the Shaolin path, simplicity is the higher discipline. When the body is overloaded by too many ingredients, too many flavors, too many choices, it doesn't thrive. It copes, it fights for balance, and that quiet battle drains your energy before the day even begins. The monks have a saying, excess invites confusion. This applies to thoughts, to movement, and yes, to food. There was once a visiting guest who marveled at the simplicity of the temple meals. A bowl of rice, a few greens, maybe some soaked nuts. He asked, how do you train so hard with so little? The master smiled and said, because it is not little, it is clean. Soaked almonds carry this same spirit. They are whole. They require no seasoning, no dressing, no fire, just water, time, and presence. And in return, they offer pure energy, smooth, steady, and digestible, alive. Contrast that with a heavy, elaborate breakfast. Fried oils, animal fats, sugars, sauces, and rush. The body may feel full but not light, awake but not clear. That kind of complexity clutters the system. It asks the body to spend energy on digestion rather than on clarity, movement, and stillness. Simple food isn't just a dietary choice, it's a philosophy. It teaches patience. It trains awareness. It reminds you that nourishment doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Simplicity sharpens, complexity scatters. In a culture that glorifies doing more, adding more, achieving more, the monk learns to do less better, to add less and feel more. That's what soaked almonds offer. Not just nutrients, but a lesson, a small act of wisdom wrapped in the quiet power of simplicity. Some things only awaken when given time. A dry almond is dense, closed, hard to digest, but when placed in water overnight it changes. The skin loosens, the bitterness fades, the seed softens. It becomes easier to receive, easier to absorb, both by the body and the spirit. This simple act, soaking a handful of almonds, is not just preparation, it's a teaching. Water does not force, it waits, it surrounds, it nourishes until even the hardest shell begins to yield. In the same way, we too must soften if we want to grow. The world tells us to be tough, sharp, unbending, but the ancient path teaches something different. True strength has give in it. True mastery includes surrender. In the Shaolin tradition, rituals are not about performance, they're about presence. When we soak almonds with intention, we're not just preparing food, we're practicing gentleness. We're remembering that change doesn't need to be dramatic to be deep. There are seasons in life when we too become hardened by grief, by failure, by the noise of the world. And often the answer isn't to push through, but to soak, to slow down, to let time and care do what force cannot. The almond doesn't resist the water. It trusts the process. And maybe that's the lesson. To soften is not to weaken. It is to open, to shed what is no longer needed, to allow something more alive to emerge. Each morning, when you peel the skin from a soaked almond, Feel that gesture, a layer falling away, a bitterness released, a new clarity beneath it. This is the quiet work of transformation, hidden in something so small, so ordinary, most people miss it, but those walking the path of presence never do. In youth, energy seems endless, movement is fast, rest is optional, the body forgives excess, but as the years pass, the rhythm shifts. What once felt easy begins to require effort, and that is not failure, it is invitation, an invitation to move with more intention, to eat with more awareness, to rest without guilt. In Shaolin tradition, aging is not seen as decline, it's refinement. The fire of youth gives way to the stillness of depth, and to live well in this stage requires a different kind of strength, not brute force but conservation, not urgency but harmony. This is why mindful eating matters. The older body digests slower. It asks for food that supports, not food that competes. Light, clean nourishment like soaked almonds becomes more than a choice. It becomes a form of respect. Respect for the body's pace. Respect for the life force that still flows within, even if quieter now. Movement, too, becomes sacred, not rushed, not careless. Each step, each breath is deliberate, like a moving meditation. This is not weakness, it's wisdom. Moving slower lets you feel more, connect more, waste less. And then rest. Deep rest, honored as a practice, not seen as laziness. The body heals in stillness, the spirit renews in quiet. Those who age with grace don't try to outrun time. They walk alongside it. They listen, they adjust, they simplify. Because mastery at this stage isn't measured by how much you can do, but by how little you need to do to remain at peace. In this way, every choice becomes part of your training, not for battle but for balance, not to extend life at any cost, but to live whatever remains with presence, strength, and dignity. Discipline without awareness becomes self-punishment, and that is not the way. In the Shaolin path, control is not the goal. Harmony is. Force can shape behavior, but only presence shapes the soul. So when it comes to food, we do not speak of diets, we speak of rhythm, of relationship, of listening. A monk does not count calories, he counts clarity. After a meal, is the mind still sharp? Is the breath calm? Is the body light and ready to move? These are the real questions, because eating is not just survival, it's communication between the body and the spirit, between the earth and the self. There was once a young student who tried to eat less, hoping to become more disciplined. He grew weak, irritable, distracted. The master said, "You've made food the enemy, but it is your teacher. You just haven't learned how to listen yet." That is the difference. When you eat with purpose, not guilt, not obsession, but purpose, you begin to notice, this food brings heat, that one brings fog, this one keeps me grounded, that one makes me dull. And from noticing comes choice. That's all awareness is clear, seeing, followed by right action. The discipline of eating in the Shaolin way is not harsh, it is subtle. You chew slower, you choose cleaner, you stop before you're full, you thank the food before it enters your body. These are not rules, they are rituals, acts of reverence. When you approach food like this, it no longer controls you, and you no longer fight it. You don't need another strict plan to follow. You need to return to simplicity, to quiet, to the body's natural wisdom. Alignment is the true diet, and presence is the only rule. The body speaks long before it breaks, but most people only listen when it starts to shout. Monks are trained to hear the whisper. In the temple, every movement is a chance to observe. Every meal is followed by stillness, not just for digestion, but for reflection. How does the stomach feel? Is there lightness or heaviness? Is the breath steady or shallow? Is the mind able to settle or does it race? These questions are not dramatic. They are daily, quiet, but they shape everything. For elders, this kind of listening becomes even more important. With age, the body becomes more honest. It no longer hides imbalance. It reflects it immediately. And this is not a curse, it's a gift, a built-in compass. Digestion, for instance, is a sacred feedback loop. When it flows smoothly, the whole system benefits. Clarity rises, inflammation lowers, even thoughts become more orderly. But when the gut is disturbed, the spirit struggles to rest, restlessness creeps in, concentration scatters, meditation becomes a battle. It's not about the quantity of food, it's about its message. Processed meals, rushed bites, overeating, all of these cloud the inner landscape. But soaked almonds, eaten slowly with presence, carry none of that weight. They support stillness, they clear the fog instead of adding to it. Monks don't wait for illness to change their habits. They adjust early. They respond to small signals. They treat discomfort as a teacher. This is a practice anyone can learn, especially in later years when the body asks for more care, not less. The wisdom is already there. It simply needs attention. To eat well is to meditate with the mouth. To listen closely is to age with peace. In the end, it's not just about almonds or protein. It's about how you show up to the small moments, how you treat the first hour of your day, how you eat, how you breathe. These little choices shape the quality of your energy and the clarity of your mind. To age well is to live well. And to live well means returning to simplicity, slowing down, becoming aware of what enters, not just your body, but your thoughts, your space, your spirit. So tomorrow morning, before the noise begins, take a moment, sit with your food, chew slowly, feel the warmth, bless it with your attention. These quiet practices are not weakness, they are strength refined. Because the more present you become, the less you live in fear. The more you trust your body, the less noise you carry in your mind. This is the path of the wise, not rushed, not complicated, but full, awake, and deeply alive. Thank you for walking with us today. If this lesson spoke to something in you, support the path by liking this video and subscribing to Shaolin Soulfire. We'll be here one breath, one step, one truth at a time.